yeah, before anyone says, I know I look like a right dickhead. So Monday I decided I was gonna do a video for you, because obviously the one before where I spoke with my PA went really well, and I managed to get her to decide she would be on screen. So after talking her into it and one thing and another, I got ready, she was ready, and in between that I decided it was time for me to fix my wheelchair first, as it wasn't going round as well as it should. So you've got these little wheels on the front of your wheelchair that they call caster wheels, and for me, they like to suck up hair. I have long hair ish, my daughter has long hair ish, Kaz, my PA, has long hair, and I also have a dog. So in a mix of all of that, for some reason, you know, it's like my wheelchair has become like a mini Hoover at the front and likes to suck up all the hair and then jab it in between, and then the wheels will not go round. And in a wheelchair, they need to go round. It's like trying to push the fattest person you've ever met with square wheels if you do not have this area clean. So me being me was like, yep, Miss Independent, I can do that. You leave it to me, I'll crack on. And so I did, and lost balance because, you know, weebles wobble, they do fall over. Stupidly decided to go for a bit of a Superman fly over the top of my wheelchair because, you know, it needs brakes and everything. Good outcome though, because now wheelchair services are coming finally out to assess myself and my wheelchair. So last time I got assessed was 2018. I got assessed for this wheelchair. It cost me over £3, and unfortunately, no doubt again, it's going to cost me to get a new one. One that has been slightly a hint of what would be good, is going to cost, I think they said somewhere around 4,000. Now, one thing I didn't know, and it seems different in different places, and this is where I'm still learning. The wheelchair I'm in was advertised at 2,100, and I was like, okay, so where's this 3,000, you know, come from? And they come out and they measure you for your wheelchair, so it's made for you, and therefore better for you because you're in it 24/7. You know, the better the fit, the better for you in the long run, like the longevity of it all. So the man came out and he's measuring me. What colour would you like? You know, do you want gold? Do you want, you know? And I'm thinking, cheapest. Whatever's the cheapest, which happened to be yellow, which I'm quite fond of yellow and grey. So I was like, yeah, okay, yellow it is. We'll happily have a yellow wheelchair. So we picked the yellow because it was cheaper. And that was that. And then he says, would you like wheels? I thought he was taking the piss. So I was like, yeah. Then I got to pick how many spokes I wanted on the wheel, you know, the metal parts of the wheels. And then what tires would I like? Would I like tires? Again, yeah, tires are good. And then do you want caster wheels, you know, on the front? And they charge you per wheel, not just as a set, like per wheel. So on a wheelchair you have 4 wheels. Sometimes you have 5 if you're having one of them sports ones, but roughly normally 4. And so I got charged for my 4 wheels, all separate. And then they were like, do you want brakes? And I was thinking, can I live without breaks? I mean, do I really need breaks? You know, these things are going through my head because losing my leg has cost me so much money. It's unbelievable. But as an able-bodied person, I was slightly ableist and did not realise that all these things cost. I presumed, you know, I've worked since I was 14. More than one or two occasions I've had 2 jobs, not just one. You know, I've paid my taxes, I've paid my national insurance, I've worked my entire life. I just presume that all this tax and national insurance and everything that you're putting in is so that if ever anything like this happens, you get help, because that's what the government make you believe, you know. So anyway, yeah, do you want handles on your wheelchair? Is it free? Is it, you know, is it cheaper? What? I just basically went for that'll do kind of thing. And the back, the NHS did supply, because I had to have a special black back, and I also had to have a special cushion. So again, I luckily did not have to pay for that as well. So ordered the wheelchair. It took months to arrive, and yeah, so they're supposed to keep up the maintenance of it, the wheelchair services, and you know, it's all different in different areas. So again, it's postcode lottery as to how you get treated and by what company. But most wheelchair services now are privatised, so that the NHS pay a company to run it for you, to run it for them, rather than it's NHS run. So that's another thing that I didn't know. Whereas in Cannock, I think it is still NHS ran. So, you know, my friend had more of a limitation on what she could and couldn't get. And we ended up sorting her out a wheelchair off eBay, actually. Anyway, so yeah, that's where we're at with wheelchair services, where after the fall and 5 stitches in my face, you know, where your tongue can actually go through your cheek, they come out and agree, you know, your brakes should work. Being as I paid for extra for them, you know, £90 each, I'd want them to work. So anyway, yeah, my video on Monday didn't go ahead. Instead, I spent 3.5 hours waiting to be assessed and stitched. Now, I was trying to talk Kaz, my PA, into not going to A&E, because I hate the place, I hate hospitals, and I wanted to just leave it. It's a bit all right, you know. I'm covered in scars, it'd be fine. Just put a plaster on, be all right. Unfortunately, I'm on blood thinners. So 2 towels later, you know, hair was absolutely soaked in it, and there's probably still bits of blood in my hair, because I'm not now allowed to wash it for a couple of days. But what got me was, seriously, I wished I could record in that place. So A&E is absolutely rammed constantly at the minute. It is something I had noticed in the last few hospital visits, where I've had to go past, you know, the A&E section in 2 of the different hospitals I'm at. It seems absolutely packed, and it seems packed because people can't get in to see the GP. And because of my hatred for hospitals, not any other reason, just I get scared of them. The staff are phenomenal. I'm never, you know, what they do, the staff, everything, amazing people. But I turn into a child when I get there, and I just want to go home and be in my own bed. So it's nothing against, you know, staff or anything like that. But anyway, so yeah, I'll do anything to even have an operation without pain meds on a few occasions. Sorry, I'm not using selfie stick or anything. Yeah, many occasions I've not even, you know, I've gone, right, okay, I'll grit my teeth, let's do it, and then I don't have to sleep there, because that's how much of a child I am, that's how babyish I am. Anyway, but because people can't see their GP, they're going to A&E. So there was quite a few people there that you could have really said, you know, a doctor could deal with that. I phoned my doctors before going, just to ask, is there any nurses there that do stitches, or doctors, and, you know, or district nurses that could come out and do, you know, just do a couple of stitches. I even looked at the sewing box myself and was like, I usually wonder where, but I reckon I could do one or two, you know, between us, me, you know, there's two of us, we could have done it. Anything not to go. And we get there and it's absolutely packed. People were sitting on the floors. Now, the one thing that did get me is how rude and disrespectful and everything else it seems we've become, and selfish. So there was people there that were really, really poorly, and if I could have stood up and given them my wheelchair and said, there you go, you can sit there, I would have, you know. Kaz, my PA, she did stand up, you know, she gave her seat to a very poorly elderly man, and stood for nearly 3 hours, because she's just a good person. On all the signs around A&E, and, you know, the actual receptionists were walking around every couple of hours saying, do you need to be together? So they were saying, like, obviously if you're with somebody that's under 18, you know, you need to be together, or you're a carer, otherwise please wait outside, because they were queuing up outside of A&E as well, on chairs in the waiting room in the hall. You know, so they were very, unless you are being seen or you are with somebody under the age of 18 or a carer, please leave. Now, normally, I mean, like, I'd have said to Kaz, leave me to it, I'm sure I'll be fine. But we didn't take my wheelchair, we took hers, her spare one, which she has to push. The only thing is, like, there was no point taking mine because, well, the brakes don't work, and because I was on blood thinners, I'd lost so much blood. I was very pale and not feeling very well. So she was like, I'm not going to leave you unless I really, you know, unless I get kicked out, kind of thing. But she is a paid carer, so technically she shouldn't. But nobody moved, not one person stood up and went, you know what, I'll wait outside. And you could hear people going like, no, I'm not leaving, you know, this is my husband, or this is my boyfriend, or this is my girlfriend. And they were very like, we pay our taxes and we're not leaving, there you go, you know, I paid for this chair. And the just rudeness of people was, anyway. And then so that happened. Then, you know, I'm looking around and I'm noticing this whole, you've got to wear a mask. So in there it says, you know, you've got to wear a mask, please wear a mask. Now, luckily I wouldn't have had to wear a mask on this occasion because this gaping hole was just in blood everywhere, and you know, I'm holding a like thing on my face. But I don't anyway, because of have certain breathing issues. So I have got an exempt card. But other people were wearing their masks. Now, probably, say there's 200-300 people in this waiting room, 50 were wearing the mask how they should wear the mask, with it covering all. It seemed like everyone else had a mask, but it was like, you know, when you were at school And, you know, you had to wear a certain, like a tie or a jumper, and everybody were like, but we'll wear it our way. So people would tie it around the top of their head, or so it's like, yeah, teacher, I'm wearing it, but I'm wearing it my way. You know, like, you're making me wear it, I'm wearing it, but I'm not gonna wear it how you are saying I'm supposed to. Like, fuck you. And so everybody was wearing their masks around their chin, you know, with the nose hanging out still. A couple had them on the heads, you know, as if it was some sort of like Jewish, you know. It was like, why wear a mask if you're not going to wear it properly? Or they'd got it on, but it was hanging down. So it's not even, you know, it's just hanging down. But if anyone looked at them, they'd pretend they were like having an itch, you know, or whatever. And then they would put it back and then take it straight off when someone stopped looking. And, you know, I've never seen so many adults acting like children, like serious children, like, grow up and just, you know, I get it. We don't want to stick to rules. There's so many of us don't want to stick to rules and stupid rules and things like that. But you know what? In that area right now, there was probably how many very vulnerable people in a hospital who are in a bad place or in a bad way right now. Just wear the mask. For God's sake, just put it on properly. You know, don't just put it on, just put it on properly. Stop being pathetic and childish about it, you know. I have to admit as well, though, it was quite funny. We were by the door where the doctors come straight out, because I just wanted to get in there and get out, and I didn't want to be around loads of people. And obviously I had my own seat because it was stuck to my ass, so we could sit where we want. So me and Kaz kind of went out the way, but we were near the door, so not in the way of the door, but pretty close to the door. And the doctors open the door and they're shouting names, you know, for people to come through. And it was so amazing how many doctors would just open the door and go, hello, and then kind of look at the name again and just, because they can't read what that name says. They just think, you know, if I make it some sort of similar sound to what I think that name is, somebody might stand up. And it was this one doctor had come out 3 times and not taken one person back. 3 times he came out with different names that he couldn't say, and then went back in because nobody could understand a word. But the top of it all, and I think, you know, the award went to, because we were playing this game, the award went to a obviously quite high up nurse. She looked like she was like staff nurse or matron or whatever. She came out with the chart and she looked at the chart and she was like, Mr. Eli, and I think, you know, like say Johnson, I don't remember the last name, but it was Mr. Eli Johnson. And she's looking around, nobody's moving. Mr. Eli Johnson. And again, nobody is moving. Nobody's having a word of it. No one's looking even. And then all of a sudden, this woman stood up. She was on the floor. And she was like, Ellie Johnson? Miss Ellie? And the nurse just looked back at the chart and went, yeah, okay, come on. So Eli and Ellie, I would have not, you know, being dyslexic, I still would have, you know, I still would have worked that one out. But the fact that she's got the notes and in front of her it says, you know, Mrs. or Miss, like this person has put male, female, even if they've put non-binary or whatever, Eli and Ellie are very different name, differently spelt. This woman looks like she'd been, you know, she was very high up, been doing the job for a very long time, with a Tamworth accent, couldn't even read Ellie. Even with my dyslexia, I was thinking, I could have done that one. But yeah, me and Kaz for 3.5 hours played The Award Goes To for the worst way of calling names. So many of them were like Jonah, and it's like John, and people, yeah, okay. It was crazy. It really was crazy. And I was a little bit knocked. There's always one. There's always going to be one, and I'm not a Karen, so I'm not gonna, I don't normally. I say I don't normally complain, and then I complain, but this is where I get to get all my rants out, And this nurse had said to me, so medical issues. How did you lose your leg? And I said to her, I had a dyslexic pimp, and I was a bit broken. His idea of selling body wasn't really what I was going for. And she really was not impressed at all with my humour. Then she asked how I did the injury, and I said, well, my carer, if you don't do what she says, that's it. And again, she didn't look very happy. So the next time I did, I was a bit more serious. So she said, do you live on your own, or do you have children under the age of 18? And I said, yes, I have a child that lives with me. And she went, how old? And I said, she's 8. And she turned and looked at me dead in the face and went, where is she now? Is she at home on her own? I was like, and I'm dying to say, oh shit, I knew I forgot something. But I didn't, because she obviously was not one for, I think the police would have been there. So I was like, no, she's at home with my mum. I wouldn't leave her home alone at 8. Even or at 18, I know my daughter, and I'd come home to a slime factory. You've got no chance. But anyway, other than that, everything's okay. I'm a bit sore, a bit swollen. My eye looked black as hell yesterday. My lip looked like I had Botox, but only on this side of my face. So like from the middle of the line bit, this was the normal size, and this was, so it looked like I got a piece of an apple in my mouth. So yeah, so the plan of filming Monday went totally out the window, and yesterday, but I thought I'd give you an update on why. Yeah, if A&E wasn't so busy, and obviously they weren't so busy, and if it was like a store, if it was like somewhere like a shop, and it wasn't about health, and it wasn't a big strain, I would say go for an hour just to sit and people watch and laugh. But obviously you can't do that in A&E. But I do think maybe the doctors need to start looking at how they can take the strain off a little bit more, because you can see since COVID and everything, the strain on now the A&E has tripled, because doctors are not seeing people face to face. It's telephone calls and etc. And most GPs can do a couple of stitches, or if every nurse, one of the GPs had like one nurse who could do stitches in the case of an emergency, like in the day, it would just free up for the more urgent cases. I hated sitting there, to be honest, thinking there's people dying, and I'm sat here waiting for a couple of stitches. It's if I didn't need them, I wouldn't have gone. But being on blood thinners, it's not worth the risk of just in case. And the nurse did say, nearly at the point where I could put my tongue through and out the other side, which I thought would be cool. It would be quite cool if you just leave it like that. But then I thought about drinks, and it just spurting out. It's probably not the best idea. Anyway, guys, hope you're safe, hope you're well. Sorry for the state of me again. However, I promise there'll be some more videos coming that are a bit more fun and cheerful in the next couple of days. See you on the flip side.